Hey, Digital Board Gamer here. Today we bring you a week in review on BGA, where I take a look at the releases, the beta releases, and then finally a little look at the forums if we have time. First up on Friday, we have King of Tokyo Duel, a two-player head-to-head version of King of Tokyo. It's rated 7.2 so far on BGG, came out last year, and is rated high in the 3000s. Now for this overview, I'm going to just be assuming that you know King of Tokyo, since many of us do, and I'll kind of teach you the real quick differences. Normal Yahtzee styles, where you roll 6 dice, you can keep it, roll, keep, roll, and then you have to resolve that. Biggest thing is monsters have different health values. All monsters have this new special power, which goes with the exclamation point. And then they got rid of the points system, and they added these tug-of-war system here. So you have fame, which is kind of the points, and then destruction. And basically the game wins by killing your enemy or getting one of these 2 tokens on the end spot next to you, or getting both of your tokens in this little area here. To move those tokens, you have to roll 3 destructions. We'll move you 1 space, and then like the points, if you roll additional of those, you move 1 more space. There's a discount here that's kind of new for buying cards. If you end up not buying a card, you get an energy. There's these little icons here, and it tells you had buzz tokens. Buzz tokens will go on this board here. It'll sometimes add additional spot, like from here to here, there's an additional spot here, but this does have an ability, and if you scroll down, you'll see the abilities are all listed here. So I think with that quick rundown, anyone who's played King of Tokyo can play King of Tokyo Duel. Next on Wednesday, we have the Gest of Robin Hood, rated 7.8 on BGG, came out last year. Is a war game. It's a lighter war game, and it's a lighter game from GMT. Still not the easiest game compared to many of the games on BGA. For a GMT game, it is on the easier end. It is part of this coin system. And the coin system is where one player is trying to play as Robin Hood in this case, and they're trying to cause havoc, and the other one plays the sheriff, trying to control the havoc. So there's a tug-of-war system here, where Robin Hood's trying to get more justice, and the sheriff is trying to get order. You'll be doing some area control on the board here. One of these tokens might actually be Robin Hood, and then every turn you'll be playing cards. Card is split into 2 parts, 1 part for Robin Hood, 1 part for the sheriff. Then there's plot and deeds, and each side is separate actions that they can do. And that's a quick overview of what this game is, but you're basically trying to, as the sheriff, make all of the counties submit, and as Robin Hood, trying to make them all revolt. The game ends if either player gets to the 5 during the resolution phase, or I believe after 7 rounds. And then our last new game on Monday was KADO. KADO is a tile placement game where the active player is going to be drawing tiles and deciding to either keep or give it to one of their opponents. And then there's some guessing and some deduction on their opponent's end to try to guess which one they kept. And if they guess it right, they switch it. So as you can see here, I have the chocolate heart and blue card. I can decide what to do with it. I decide to give it to my opponent because it's a low 1 rank. Then I have a sock purple 1, and in a 2-player version, instead of giving to the 3rd player, you can discard it. And that's what I do there. Unfortunately, I drew the orange sock, so I'm stuck with that. Now my opponent guesses what they think I kept. They think I kept the green sock. They got one of the 2 correct, so they get to switch cards. Then we both place. The first one has to go in the center. Then you're building a 3x4 grid. Now, if you were to ever guess it perfectly, aka I guessed a yellow chocolate, I would actually score 2 points and it would still switch. And then of course, if you do not get the guess correct, you keep your original card. All right, scoring is as follows. First, you look at your lines or your rows, and you're going to score your highest ranked one of similar types. So here 4, 10, 11, I scored 11 points for this first one. Here, Rubik's Cubes are my most, 3, 6, 11. I score this here. Then here I have to look, and socks is my highest. I scored 10. Then in columns, you're going to look for similar colors. So these 3 blue are all the same. So then I score the highest of the number here, which is 5. Green, same thing. I have a 5, so I score 5. If this happened to be a red, then I would score the red 3 because of this would have been the highest 3. But you only score if you get all 3 correct. Whereas my opponent, he did not fill up any of his colors in the same column, so he scored no points that way. And neither of us happened to get a perfect guess. And now on for the beta games. On Friday, Cuttle was added. Cuttle is a card combat game played with usually a standard deck of cards where you're trying to score 21, and then for the most part, every card has a special power. So the goal is I'm trying to get 21. I have 3 out of 8 cards in my hand, and I've actually won 1 out of 2 hands so far. So here you can see my 3 cards that are in my hand. On the right-hand side, these are the cards that are in front of you that might have special powers. And on the left side here, here's your total points. So currently my opponent has 9 points, and he has the king in front of him, which has a special ability. The king's ability is it lowers the total points you need to win, hence why he only needs 14 and I need 21. But I have the 8 out. The 8 says that your opponent must play all their cards out, and that's why I can see his hand right here. So you can see when you play a card, you can play it for points, or you can do its ability. The face cards all have just abilities on them. They're actually not worth any points. During your turn, you either draw a card or play a card. That's really it. First one to get their point total, whether it be 21 or if they modify it, wins a hand, and then you play to a certain amount of hands. Toy Battle was released earlier this week on beta. If you look at the pictures, it is Clash Royale. So if you've played Clash Royale, where you have to attack each other's castle and so on, that's what this game is. In Toy Battle, your turn is you can either draw 2 cards, or you can play a troop. So here I'll draw 2 cards, and then my opponent will play a card. Each unit has a special ability. His special ability may discard the top card. Again, now I can either draw or play, and I'll choose to play this time. When you play, you have to play out from your current line, I guess you could call it. So here my castle is my beginning, and I have to spread my way out. You win by either getting 7 points or taking over your opponent's castle. And you can see control, play on, and so on. Now, if you surround an area with a star is how you get this point. So if you place a guy here and a here, then you get a point and so on. And then you'll see here that I can place on top of my opponent's troops as long as my number is higher than their number. 3 is higher than 7, and so on. And the duck is a special one, allows you to break that rule. We have Leaders, a brand new game, yet to be released. And there is very little information on BGG about this game. Looks like the game is coming out next month in France, and then later on we should hear about the US release. The game ends in 2 ways. Either 1, your leader is captured by having 2 enemy units next to them at any time, or your leader becomes surrounded by either your own pieces and therefore becomes blocked. Each round you'll be moving each of your champions and then recruiting until you have 5 champions, then you'll be moving them around the board each turn. When you get a new champion, they are placed on this area right here on the edge of the board. And then each champion has a special ability, some interact with others, and so on. It's just a real simple game of trying to trap the enemy leader. Lastly, a not very popular game, Fox and Hounds, or Wolf and Sheep as it's called on BGA. In this game, you're trying to get the sheep, as I am here, to the 8th row here, and then the wolves are trying to block it so I can't move. So, move like checkers. The sheep is allowed to move backwards, but the wolves cannot. And there I have won because now I have the open path to the 8 all the way. And our look at the forums. First, Azul came out last Friday. It was a game, I believe, that skipped both alpha and public beta. And because of that, there are several posts in here that are submitting that suggest maybe that they shouldn't do that. This game should have been in beta. There was lots of things that were broken, unplayable. Looks like most things have been fixed, and even some suggestions. But I do wonder, having a game just for the sake of being a surprise coming right to public release is worth skipping the public and alpha betas. Speaking of alpha, Parks is back. A few episodes ago, I mentioned that there was some cry out that Parks was leaving earlier or late last year, and now Parks version 2 is in alpha. So if you're a player of Parks liked it, missed it. It will be coming back once it gets through alpha. I'll go to beta and then a full release. Well, that's all the time I have for you today. If you like the video, like the video. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing that. And as always, good luck and have fun.